Hello? Hello? Hey, everybody. What's going on? Glad you could make it through that introduction to make it to the real show. And here we are. It's a new week. And CPAC just happened. So Trump talked. DeSantis wasn't even there. I actually have a bunch of news I can go over today. A bunch. A whole bunch. Some of it is trans news. I always have a trans news segment of the show. So, and officially, now they, because of the title and stuff, they might shadow ban this show. I still don't know if you're allowed to talk about it, but people definitely are more without getting canceled. And now it's officially a topic that can be grifted off of. Like it's been made official by the Daily Wire. So we want to make sure we're talking about the topics that are the ones that are good to grift off of. So we'll talk about it. Somebody at the CPAC said we should kill all the trans people. No, that's not what he said. But that's how it was interpreted. He was like, we should take you'd think that's what he said. We should take the trans people and put them in camps and then have gas chambers. That's what's being interpreted as being said. So we're going to say, like, is that really what he said? Should he have said it? How was CPAC? Are we Republicans? Do we identify with, what is the Quartering call them? New conservatives? The Quartering made a big scene because he thinks people are talking about trans stuff too much. Too much focus on drag queen story hour. And Jon Stewart just had somebody on to talk about what's wrong with men dressing up as women and reading books to kids. What's wrong with that? That's not what's killing kids. And Drag Queen Story Hour did get banned somewhere in one state. So, in the Quartering thought, people are asking him to talk about that too much. That's really not an important issue. And kind of threw a fit, deleted a bunch of his Twitter. And I don't know. I don't know if he's serious. He's made plenty of videos critical of trans stuff. But he felt like, I got stuff going on at the house. Somebody's at my house. Don't know why. Well, so anyway, I'll tell you that news. I'll tell you about what happened with the Quartering. He says YouTube is dying. It might be true. This show is dying. This show, if it's an example of YouTube, what's his name? The Quartering says it's dying for creators because of YouTube Shorts. So do you guys watch YouTube Shorts? I was just reading his thread about it. He says YouTube is dying for creators because of YouTube Shorts. Do you watch that? I've made a few. I'll talk about the difficulty of making a career out of telling people what you think about, because then sometimes people get mad. So I'll talk. I can relate to a little bit of what the Quartering is going through. But he threw a fit. He says people are too obsessed with the trans thing, and that it's not as important as people think. So is it? So we'll talk about that. Eradicate. What else? And then, I have news from the UK. There's some text messages that have been leaked that are pretty interesting. So I'll report on that. Maybe try to turn that into a shorter video. I will report on the government looking into the lab leak thing. The lab leak story is a big story. So the lab leak, the thing about the story is we tried to cover it up. What they were trying to say, China tried to cover it up. We tried to cover it up. Fauci tried to cover it up. So that's been there's a government committee looking into how Fauci and this guy at the WHO covered up the lab leak theory. So Capano says, some people, I see what people are saying in the chat. Some people say, I prefer Rumble. Yeah, we're talking to Rumble. Rumble, I don't live stream on Rumble just because when I did, nothing happened. There aren't as many people over there as on YouTube, but YouTube's got its own problems too. I think part of it is that if you're demonetized, then they don't promote your content. But now part of it, I guess, is people say they're losing out on stuff because of YouTube Shorts. Don't know. Jim Rivas says lab leak is BS. I don't think that's true. No, I think the lab leak is legit, but it's the limited hangout part that's BS. The fact that China tried to cover it up and not us. So, all right, trans, cover some stuff from CPAC, cover the thing going on with the quartering. I have all kinds of different news. I was going to call this video, and then the thing people are posting on Twitter right now are videos of Black people attacking white people. I was almost going to call this stream 2 hours of Black people attacking white people, because that seems to be all that's in my feed these days. So we are starting like a new kind of race war type thing. I'm a little concerned about the way things are going. I am a little concerned about the way things are going in the trans thing and the racial thing. And then you have Steven, then you have, what's his name, the director, Steven Spielberg, saying like people are super anti-Semitic now. And maybe they are. We're in difficult times. Yeah, I can show you an example of the videos people are posting. And then you can decide, are we going to start a race war? Are things going to be okay? Do you care about elections or anything else? Is it the end of the world? We'll find out. Okay, cue musical intro. Boy, that's brilliant. I do think some things in the world are real. Like you guys. You guys are real. Most of you. Most of my listeners, I think, are not just in my head. I think I have the metrics to prove it. You've taken a leap of faith today. What is that sound? And I apologize if you take offense. I'm a little offended myself. Welcome to our show. Welcome to the future. What it is, joining you live from sunny California. It's a beautiful day today. I'm your host, Nathan Stoltman. And I bring you the news, the real news. Yes, the real news, the super real news grift here. If you want to support this show, you can go to buymeacoffee.com/lifttheveil. This show, which is dying without your support, at buymeacoffee.com/lifttheveil. Yeah, I know what the quartering is going through. It is difficult when you're a content creator and you know people want to hear something from you, and you don't believe it. And then he doesn't want to talk about Drag Queen Story Hour all the time, I guess. So this is what this guy said at CPAC. He said, and they're accusing him of like being genocidal. This is what they always say. The trans people, they say, we want to wipe them out. Oops, I shared the wrong thing. Hold on. Chrome tab. There we go. All right. So this is the guy. This is a guy, Michael Knowles. I guess he's one of the guys from Daily Wire. And Daily Wire, I said, it has become, the anti-trans thing is officially a grift because the Daily Wire is pushing it and they're selling chocolate. I'll show you that. That's how it officially became a grift. And then they do have those characters on there who do talk about it a lot. We've been talking about it for a long time, but now politicians are talking about it. You know, it's mainstream. It is mainstream to be anti-trans. And so this guy at CPAC said this, okay.
There can be no middle way in dealing with transgenderism. It is all or nothing. If transgenderism is true, if men really can become women, then it's true for everybody of all ages. If transgenderism is false, as it is, if men really can't become women, as they cannot, then it's false for everybody too. And if it's false, then we should not indulge it, especially since that indulgence requires taking away the rights and customs of so many people. If it is false, then for the good of society, and especially for the good of the poor people who have fallen prey to this confusion, transgenderism must be eradicated from public life entirely. The whole preposterous ideology at every level. There can be no middle way in dealing with.
So that could be a little bit, I guess I think Blair White is definitely going to become, people are going to be wondering what she's going to say. Because I've been saying for a while, it is weird that people reject transgender ideology, but they do accept Blair White, who is not a female, who is, you know, a man LARPing as a female, which is fine. Which is fine. That person can do that. But if you're against it, then you would say, oh, okay, well, it's not right, right? So that's what people are starting to say. And they're starting to go after Blair White a bit. And Jeremy from the Quartering is friends with Blair White. So we'll see where she ends up going on this whole thing. And now, as far as that's all concerned, we need to eradicate transgenderism. I think it's easily taken out of context and easily spun into being something hateful. I think the Republicans did a few things at CPAC. Well, they do a few things that make them seem mean, right? So like Matt Walsh, what he said about Dylan Mulvaney, and then this guy saying we need to eradicate transgenderism. Some people see that and they say, oh, he's saying he wants to eradicate transgender people. But I think it's fair. I mean, I don't know what he could have said different. I mean, I just think the thing with transgenderism is it's not real. And the problem really is the science. I think the problem is the science and the doctors who say it's real. And because of the science and the doctors who say it's real, then that trickles down to the schools. The schools teach what the science says. And the science, the medical establishment, has been talking about how the right thing to do is to transition kids. So we need science that says that it doesn't work out for people that well, you know? And I think eventually that'll come out and people are talking about it, but eradicate transgenderism. I mean, you'll always have people who think they're something different, who have dysmorphia of some sort. You can't really eradicate the people that think that. And people, I don't care. Just generally, I mean, I could talk about this whole thing is screwed up gay people, and now people are going after gay people too. The gender thing is way different. The gender thing, telling somebody they can be another gender or that they're not the gender they were born as, it's just not true. And that needs to somehow that needs to come back to reality. I don't know how we're going to get there. I mean, there are people who believe in that cult, you know, who think that it's true that you are a different gender, but it's not true. So in as much as like we can change the system, and then medical establishment realizes that some of this treatment is harmful, I mean, that's how we're going to get somewhere. So I don't know how long it's going to take. I mean, right now, a lot of kids identify as trans, and and they're learning in school that you can be trans, which really shouldn't be taught because it's not true. That, you know what I mean? Like you can think that you are, but it's not like you can't actually change, right? You just can't. You can't actually change sexes. It's impossible. So for them to teach in schools that you can is a problem. And so in the sense that you want to eradicate transgenderism, yeah, you want to eradicate the normalization of it, I think. Just because, but mostly because it's harmful, it doesn't work, people have problems, etc. But I don't care how people express themselves, and I'm not trying to eradicate trans people, and it's cool. I think people should express themselves however they feel comfortable. And if that seems like the other sex, then okay, whatever, like people can be people. So anyway, that's what he said. That's what he said, and that's what people are reacting to. I will play you the grift off of the anti-trans thing, because I played you the Hershey's thing for, I don't know if it was International Women's Day or how it's Women's History Month. So did I tell you guys? I was in the middle of grifting and I forgot to grift my link. Or if it's Women's History Month, they chose a trans woman to represent Hershey's for this Women's History Month thing. And then they got a lot of backlash. The trans person has gone private. So the Daily Wire actually came out with their own chocolate. So this is why I say it officially has become a grift, is they decided to use the backlash from that campaign to come up with their own chocolate bar, which they launched, which maybe they got a bunch of orders for too. So this is the ad they ran. So I guess this guy, Jeremy, at the Daily Wire, I don't know if they also sell the razors. Are they the ones that sell the razors too? So they came out with this ad to launch their chocolate bar, their anti-trans chocolate bar. All right, I'll play this.
International Women's Day is upon us again, and I love an international woman. But our friends over at Hershey's, they don't even know what a woman is. They've hired a biological male to be the spokesperson for their Women's Day campaign, and they're calling that campaign, and I swear I'm not making this up, Her-She. Her-She. It's humiliating, and it's the reason that I'm launching Jeremy's chocolate. We have two kinds, she-her, and he-him. One of them's got nuts. If you need me to tell you which one it is, keep giving your money to Hershey's. But if you're tired of giving your money to woke corporations that hate you, and you're looking for a delicious chocolate bar from a company that actually wants your business, head over to IHateHershey's.com and order Jeremy's chocolate today. International Women's Day is upon us again.
So they ended up making that ad and they're selling their own chocolate. And if you go to the website, it's really expensive and it's not available right away. So it's like $25 for 4 chocolate bars that are milk chocolate, not even dark chocolate, which whatever. Some people like milk chocolate. That's fine. Doesn't say exactly what's in them. They are kosher and soy free. And they don't ship until the ship date was earlier. Last I checked, it was going to be April something. They don't ship until May 1st, 2023. So $25 for 4 chocolate bars. So that's a good grift. I mean, it's way more expensive than you can get really good chocolate that you can get really good chocolate for less than that. at the store. And you have to pay shipping on this too. Yeah, they sell razors too. So yeah, the whole anti-woke thing is well, they use it as a type of grift, but people are glad to support it. Hopefully the chocolate tastes good. But yeah, that was because of that. But fair enough. They came out with it pretty quick. They came out with the commercial pretty quick, but they can't ship it for a while. They say one has nuts, one doesn't. The he, him bar has nuts. And the she, her bar does not. So yeah, that came out. They launched that. Okay, so I have that camp. So I got that for you. I told you a little bit about the quartering. The quartering quit. They banned. Anyway, I have trouble too. So the quartering has trouble because he's not as anti-trans as his followers. Okay. He doesn't think Drag Queen Story Hour is as big of a deal as his followers. Okay. And that made him decide he was going to quit Twitter for a while. Then he didn't really quit Twitter. And then he went off about how people aren't talking about real things like Ukraine and stuff because it's like, I understand. I understand where he's coming from in that his audience demands things from him that are different than what he believes. Because I have like exactly the same issue frequently where people want to hear something that I don't believe. And then you have to think about it and it's like it's one of the reasons trying to be successful on YouTube is so difficult is you have to say what people want to hear. And if you don't say what people want to hear, then people get mad at you. They get turned off. So he got pissed off that he's not as much against Drag Queen Story Hour. Now, for me, I'm also not as against Drag Queen Story Hour as I should be for people listening to the show. So I have like a whole bunch of issues where I'm not as something as the people who listen to the show. So like, I don't show videos much from Drag Queen Story Hour stuff because I'm not trying to make people crazy. And that stuff does make people crazy. I don't think it should be banned because if it's a man dressing up as a woman and reading something to children, yes, that is really odd. But I think it's a type of free speech and it's not harmful necessarily on its own. I understand the arguments for why it is. So if it's true that that's happening, that people are just dressing up as women and reading books to children and not doing strip teases and stuff, then that's okay with me. Right. And that's not good enough for a lot of people. A lot of people are like, no, you have to ban Drag Queen Story Hour. So I understand where the quartering is coming from. Because then it's like, what are you saying? Like a man can't dress up. Like if a man wants to dress up as a woman, I don't think it should be banned, right? I'm not an authoritarian. If a man wants to say he's a woman, I don't think you can outlaw it. So that's when it comes to eradicate transgenderism is where it becomes it's like, what are you saying exactly? Like or eradicate it. Like, do you want to eradicate it from movies? Are you saying a movie, if they want to, right, can't have a transgender character? Or, I mean, it becomes about like what people are allowed to do. So is it okay? And then, I come from theater, and in theater, there's a lot of times men play women, or a play motif might be a man is dressed up as a woman or is pretending to be a woman, or a woman is pretending to be a man. Like in Shakespeare plays, there's all these scenes where women are dressed up as men, pretend to be men. And it was probably played by actors who were men pretending to be women, pretending to be men. So like, and Peter Pan is always played by a woman, right? And that was for children. And I don't think people seeing a grown woman pretending to be a boy necessarily turned anybody trans or anything. And all that stuff could get banned if you ban people dressing in drag, basically, which I guess is what you would do with Drag Queen Story Hour. So I'm not as fanatical as, I should be, I guess, about it. So I get where he's coming from. But I still think it's actually that telling people they can be trans, as if it's normal, is really a major serious thing. Like I watched that movie and I shared it with people called Affirmation Generation. And after watching it, I'm like, it is maybe the most important. It could actually be the most important issue, is that kids are being told that they can be trans, and that's not true. Like you can think you are or whatever, but it's not a real thing. And the fact that people are being told it's a real thing and then encouraged to do it, which could be really harmful for them and then harmful and for like lots of other ways. I do think it's like a really important issue, and I understand why people are wound up about it. Like people don't want they don't want bad things to happen to their kids. And becoming trans can be really make your life really difficult. Medical, especially if you go down the medical route, you're medicalized for the rest of your life and stuff. I mean, it can be really tough. So I think it's a super important issue. I wouldn't throw a fit over people telling me to cover it, but I get where he's coming from, because it is difficult. It is difficult being a content creator for sure, and doing what people want for sure. So I feel that all the time. I do feel that all the time. Like, oh, people want to hear, they want to hear this, they want to hear that. And that's not what I think. So then it's really difficult to balance creating good content versus monetizing content. It's like super difficult to balance in your head as a content creator. It's like, you want to talk about what you want to talk about, and yeah, you'd like people to tune in and you think it's interesting and all that stuff. But then what does it come down to? Like, what do you have to say? And it's difficult. And I get where he's coming from. He says conservatives have gone too far. And I don't know if it's the anti-trans, I think mostly it's the anti-trans stuff, but I can imagine the racial stuff has gotten pretty crazy too. Like I'm definitely, I have trouble identifying as, I don't know. It's hard to know whether to identify as being conservative when people say stuff that's a little more than what you would say, like there's stuff going on, like the conservative thing lately is just the racial stuff has really gotten, ever since Scott Adams, now people are like, oh, Scott Adams was right. And they're sharing these videos of black people beating up white people. I'll show you one of the videos that was shared just as an example. That's what's going on around that. Like, that's just like, you can't avoid seeing black people doing crazy shit right now on Twitter. And I'm not going to go down that road because I realize like what people are trying to do. They're trying to like create racial division, right? But I'll show you, this is like what people are sharing. And a lot of the people are saying Scott Adams was right. They're saying Scott Adams was right, basically. And then showing videos of like black people beating up white people. Like this video.
might get their ass. Come nigga. Turn that bitch up. Hey, they beating up every white person. They jumping every white person. Man, no white person come down Sherman. He white. Beat his shit, bitch. That's what it's
So there you go. So there's that video. And then I was curious. So there's all these videos all of a sudden. There are all these videos. And I was like, are these all new videos? Could this all be happening right now? And it's not. This is an old video. But so people are pulling up the old videos of black people beating up white people and posting them on Twitter and saying Scott Adams was right. And to me, it's, you know, it gives you the impression when all you see on Twitter is videos of black people acting crazy, you get the impression that all black people are like that, right? And you got to stay away from black, like you end up like Scott Adams, right? So you end up thinking, oh my God, these black people are out of control. You know, you can't be around them. But then if you think, like, if you've known black people, at least for me, it's just like, I've never met any black people like that. I still think it's still a minority of black people. Yes, statistically, maybe, you know, you're more likely, well, for example, like violent crime and stuff, people always talk about, yes, statistically, it is more likely a lot. Well, they say that 1350 thing, right? Which I've been hearing about. 13% of the population, 50% of violent crime. So yeah, statistically, but that's still it's still not anyway, it concerns me. Like, I'm not, like, I want people to get along. I don't want people to think they can't live near each other. I don't want people to think like black people are inherently violent, because I don't think that's true. Because also, if you get black people from other countries and stuff, you know, they're not all the same. Like, black people aren't all the same. So you can't just say it's like, oh, they're genetically whatever. Black people are different from different places. Black Americans have like their own set of issues and stuff. But yeah, I just don't like where things are going, to be honest, as far as like that stuff goes, because it is driving people to be more, you know, say they agree with Scott Adams, basically. So, which I think it's fair to acknowledge. I think it's fair to acknowledge lots of like differences between races and stuff. But did you guys see Chris Rock's special? It was pretty good. Chris Rock's special was pretty good. He talked about some race stuff. He talked about how now white men claim to be victims. He did something that I did on the show before, which was talked about like how people become influential. And one of the ways people become influential these days is by being victims. And then he talked about the different kinds of people that say they're victims. One of them, he said now white men say they're victims. So now I guess it's a thing, right? Is white people. So now it's known. So now everybody complains. Now everybody can complain about the racism and stuff. But anyway, what did he say? They did go off. They said the royal family was racist. In the after show, they said the royal family like invented slavery, which I thought was pretty funny, because obviously white people didn't invent slavery. But that's what people say. Here, I'll show you this racial news. Lori Lightfoot blames her election loss on racism and gender. It says because she was a black woman in America, she lost. I don't know. But yeah, I'm concerned. This guy, like, I thought this was fucked up. From CPAC, Don Jr. This was Don Jr. at CPAC.
Pennsylvania managed to elect a vegetable. They criticized me as being ableist. I didn't know what that was, but there's always an ist, right? There's always an ist, and it doesn't matter what you're talking about. And apparently an ableist is someone who discriminates against those with disabilities. And I said, well, I'm not discriminating against an ableist. I'd love for John Fetterman to have like good gainful employment. Maybe he could be like a bag guy at like a grocery store but like, is it unreasonable for me to expect as a citizen of the United States of America to have a United States senator have basic cognitive function? Pennsylvania managed to elect a vegetable.
Anyway, thought it was fucked up to go after Fetterman now that he's in the hospital with depression. That's all. I was like, no, it is kind of mean. So it is true what they say. It's like that is kind of mean. Like he is in the hospital. Apparently they ran I saw something that said they ran an obituary for him. But yeah, after he got elected, the way I feel about it, at least with Fetterman, is when he was running, it was definitely relevant that he had a stroke, because you have to decide who's going to be your candidate. And the stroke might have been what led to the depression, which led him to not being able to be a senator right now. So it was totally fair, I think, to talk about the fact that he had a stroke and he might not be capable of being senator. But now that he is senator, then I feel like it's kind of like, well, do you really have to go after, like, you kind of just wish him the best as long as he's senator, because he's not running for anything right now. So that was Don Jr. at the show. Trump had a speech too. It was all right. I don't know what to say. That's the other thing. People like Trump. We need to be more pro-Trump, more racially. Crab Paste says, this is the first time seeing you in a couple of weeks, Nate. I can't believe how left you are. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, that's why this show is kind of on its last legs. I'm too left. Like I'm too left wing, I think, like generally I'm a nice person. Like I'm not against the one thing that's getting hit really hard is, gay people are just getting fucked with big time because of the gender stuff. So now they're going after gay people and gay marriage and stuff. And I'm like, sexual orientation to me is a real thing. And I don't think people can get groomed into it so easily. Like, I don't know if you can groom somebody necessarily to be gay. I don't know. I mean, in my experience, like there's nothing that's going to turn me gay. And once you're gay, like you can't pray the gay away, because Milo Yiannopoulos and Nick Fuentes proved that pretty well. So I think some people are gay, and I think that they deserve the same rights as everybody else. But they're getting hit hard too. So yeah, that's the other thing. So like, yeah, maybe I am a little too left wing. But that's what I've been dealing with lately. I'm different than people who follow me. But I'd still, the thing is, I agree on most things. Like trans is fucked. Like trans ideology and stuff is messed up. Grooming kids is messed up. But then there are polls like this, like people, this is Kim Iverson ran this poll. Oh, if you want to, I'll tell you in a second. Kim Iverson says, lots of talk about eradicating transgenderism. If you agree, where are you on public display or discourse of homosexuality? And 42% of the people who answered the poll said eradicate public display or discourse of homosexuality. So people have gotten really, it just seems like people are getting more extreme. That's all. Like, I don't know when people were talking about eradicating homosexuality before. And I just, I just feel like people are gay. They're not going to change. They deserve the same rights as everybody else, And yes, there is a lot of gay stuff on TV now, but it's the way it goes. Like some people are gay. Like if you want to represent reality, some people are homosexual. So I think trying to eradicate something that exists that you can't change is kind of fucked up personally. So, but that's where people are at. Speaking of trans stuff, this is about Dylan Mulvaney. Nobody wants to date Dylan Mulvaney. See, this is the thing that's not that surprising. The thing about sexual orientation, like LGB, is it has to do with who you're attracted to. And people are attracted to natural males or females. Nobody is born attracted to a trans person, and straight men aren't going to be physically attracted to trans women, like once they see them naked and stuff. That's not what they're into. And you can't change that about people. So, and it's the same thing with, and that's like sexual orientation, whether you're attracted to men or women, is real. People are attracted to men or women. They're not attracted to trans people. So I just put out there. And so he says nobody wants to date him now, these women. When he was a man, there were lots of gay guys, and he's gay. Lots of gay guys, because gay guys are attracted to men, actual men. Straight guys are attracted to actual women, biological women, biologically, like naturally. So when you're trans, there's nobody who's biologically attracted to you except, like, again, maybe gay guys. But a gay guy would rather be with a man because that's what they're into, is men. So it's good that they should have this article where he just talks about, oh, okay, now that I'm so hot and a woman, nobody's interested. Yeah, nobody's interested because people aren't naturally attracted to trans people. I just put out there, if you asked because now the thing about trans that really makes you realize that it's kind of crazy is there are men that turn into women and become lesbians, right? And now there are women that become gay men, supposedly. But if you asked a straight guy if he'd rather have sex with a trans woman or a trans man who's like biologically the way they were, then they would have sex with a trans man. And that wouldn't make them gay. They would still be straight. So I think, to me, that tells you that like gender isn't a real thing. People are attracted to biological sex, and that is a real thing. So yeah, if I was gay, I'd be pissed off at all the trans stuff for just painting everybody with the same brush, basically. Because yes, and then people talk about like gay people shouldn't be able to adopt and stuff. It's just like, well, yes, it's not perfect. It's better to have mother and father. Like, I agree, ideally it's good to have both to be raised by different sexes and stuff and have the father and the mother and stuff. But mothers and fathers aren't perfect either, a lot, right? So there's like the story about those gay guys that rape their kids, which is terrible. But there are lots of stories about straight parents who fuck up their kids. It's just as bad. And nobody says straight parents shouldn't be allowed to have kids. I mean, there are lots of fucked up straight parents out there. There are lots of fucked up straight people. So that's my only thought on it. So I don't think you need to. So I'm pro LGB, and then I don't believe in the rest. Like the rest are just kind of ideas, right? Like gender expression. Okay, gender expression. Okay, you can express yourself however, but what you are and what you're attracted to doesn't change. So those are my thoughts on that. All right, let me see. If you want to support the show and help stick it around, go to buymeacoffee.com/lifttheveil. You can leave a coffee and a note if I'm not too liberal for you, but yeah, I might be. I mean, that's the difficulty. I might just be too left wing for things. Like I might have to get off. But I'm still I would support, but I still support mostly the people I like in politics and stuff are still Republicans. I like Rand Paul, I like Thomas Massey, I like Tulsi Gabbard. Maybe I'll save some of this stuff. How long have I been going for? I can maybe see if anybody wants to call in. The show just keeps getting smaller and smaller. I'm gonna have to do something else and do the show for fun, because the show, I couldn't figure out how to make it work out. Let me take some calls. Oops. There we go. And yeah, if you want to support the show, that's great. Sorry, I haven't done it every day. I know. See the quartering, he puts out I think he does a live show, then puts out 5 videos. I haven't been able to do that. I have other content, but I might save it. I'll see if anybody wants to call in. I have other content about these leaked messages. Oh, I have this this is a good video. This is a good, funny video. That if you call people, if you talk about dieting, it's racist. I'll play that.
Science doesn't exist. I have a master's degree in this. I get very angry when people start promoting diets in their lives. And I have to go. I can't be around it. I am a fat person, and you're attacking me by opening your mouth and saying shitty things about your fat body. Be careful on what you say and what you are perpetuating, because it's all tied to racism and eugenics. You're being a racist when you start promoting weight loss. I said what I said. It's the truth. Stop it right now. If you care about me, if you care about fat people, if you care about yourself, you will stop. You will stop right now. I had to leave a live this morning because they're all talking about diets and, oh, you got to do what you got to do. And you got to listen to your doctor. Your doctor's lying. But you don't question it because they got the white coat. They know. They must know. No, the diet culture informs doctors.
There you go. So that is one of the funnier things, is that you can't say people. There are a lot of funny things in this world. One of them is that being fat is healthy. Being fat is healthy is a new thing. So, all right, let me, I think the phone is open. I'll see. I don't know if anybody dropped me a coffee today. I didn't have my thing up. Little round box, bought 5 coffees. Thanks for that. Al Shizzle bought 5 coffees. I don't know when. He says, hey, Nate, rock on. Thanks for that. Basil and Syra bought a coffee. Thanks. Jeff Dean bought a coffee. Little Ron Bax bought 5. Said, to my favorite undercover Jew, Purim Semich, why do we dress up on Purim? Partly to share the delight of inhabiting another identity. The child can now be a queen, a wise man, a king, a knave. The story springs off the page and into pageant. We love play acting as an aid to imagination. Thanks for that. I wonder if you're talking about how that relates to being transgender. People do like to express themselves different ways. In my opinion, like we should anyway, my thoughts on the trans thing is like you shouldn't be anti-gay because people turn trans because they have internalized homophobia a lot of times. So you want to tell people it's okay to be gay because otherwise they might turn trans. That's my thoughts. And it's okay to be feminine. Like it's okay to be a feminine guy. Those are the things I think as a liberal and stuff. I think that being anti-gay and anti-trans shouldn't go together. That if you're anti-trans or if you think trans ideology is fucked up, then you should be pro-gay. Because, they talk about how all these lesbians now, these girls that would be lesbians are turning trans. So you say, no, it's okay to be a chick that's into other chicks. Like people will accept you. It's okay to be a butch lesbian, for example. Like that should be okay. That, in my opinion. So there are a lot of people on that side that think that way though too. But I think because a lot of people turn trans because they think they shouldn't be gay or they think it's weird being a feminine man. I think people should be allowed to be like, if a man wants to be feminine, whatever, like that's cool. To me, it's a lot cooler if a guy wants to wear makeup and stuff or act all feminine. Like I want to celebrate that. The fact that they're not pretending to be something that they're not and trying to like appropriate something that doesn't belong to them. So someone said they had to disagree with me about Drag Queen Story Hour. Yeah, I understand. I know. That's probably what Jeremy at the Quarter is upset about too. Yeah, I realize that. I just don't know about I don't know. Just a man dressing up as a woman in front of kids, if it's not stripping and stuff, yes, it's weird. But beyond that, like I don't know if it's I don't know if it's necessarily harmful. It could be. But I'm thinking of myself as a kid and I see a man dressed up as a woman. I don't know if it's going to make me think that I don't know. So I understand where you're coming from though. You say, oh, I don't have kids, so I don't understand. Okay, it's possible. Yeah, I come at it from a different point of view. But like, I think first of all, kids are pretty resilient and they might just think like going to those things is super weird. I think it's weird that parents do it, especially. And then if it's stripping, like, I don't know if that could be illegal. Like, I don't think kids should see obscenity and people stripping and stuff. It's not appropriate around children and everybody should realize that. So, but as far as banning it, I don't know. I don't know exactly how you do it. But I understand where you're coming from. Let me read the chat and people can ask me questions in the chat. I have other stories. I have the story about the variant being unleashed. Maybe I'll try to make those into videos. I have a story about the variant being unleashed, or the guy in the UK saying, when do we deploy the new variant? That's a good story. And then I have a story about Fauci covering up the lab leak. let's see. If you have any questions, stiff over lips. MC says, I'm from Beverly Hills. I'm not from Beverly Hills, but I should do more conspiracy theories. Yeah. One thing is I've actually become less conspiracy, less. Well, I just look for facts on stuff. So one area I got myself into trouble, like I realized, was with the story from the guy from Project Veritas, James O'Keefe, is when the James O'Keefe story broke, people want to hear that it was because of Pfizer. That's what people wanted to hear. It was that it's because of Pfizer, but it wasn't. It wasn't. And now it's been confirmed that it wasn't. But at the time, people are like, oh, you're not being real. Like, what are you talking about? Of course it was Pfizer. But it wasn't. And a lot of the stuff is James O'Keefe. Like, James O'Keefe is kind of like difficult to deal with, apparently. But like, people really didn't want to hear that. So yeah, those are some of the things. But I get myself in trouble all the time. But I'm not quite as much of a conspiracy theorist as I used to be. I used to think everything was fake. For a time, I did. So, what's fucking me up is Vegan Mikey died too. I found that out over the weekend. So like, people I have on my show, like Isaac Cappy's dead, Vegan Mikey's dead. And I got so much pushback for just having those two people on. But that's not that good. And what's his name too? John McAfee. But the John McAfee thing wasn't my fault. I appreciate you guys for tuning in. I appreciate people who support the show. I do have to find out. I do have to find something else to do though for money. I did try this YouTube thing, but I don't know what happened. Okay, I don't have any more coffees. I don't have any questions. Oh, I don't know how. It was a couple years ago. Apparently. I just found out. Yeah, probably. I mean, he was sick, I guess. And he was on drugs and stuff. So I wasn't that surprised. I thought he might have, but yeah. Hey, you're on the air.
Nathan, hi, Jesse Spots.
Hey, Jesse, what's up?
Well, I'm really sorry to hear that. It's Vegan Mikey. That's probably hitting everybody right now. They're finding out through you. So.
Oh yeah, and I don't know who was following him or what, but somebody told me who I got is a reliable source, showed me something. So it made me feel like bad, especially since like he was kind of like disgraced, right? Everybody attacked him and all that stuff, and now whatever happened.
Yeah, we don't have. We don't have. People love what I've found. It doesn't matter what we're talking about. There's a part of us we want to moralize everything. So if you put somebody on screen, there's a certain percentage of society that just wants to say, is this person good? Is this person bad? Is this and we'll just spiral about that endlessly. But I want to move past that. I just wanted to acknowledge, because I haven't even really internalized that yet. I'll probably feel guilty, if anything. So the show that you're doing right now, forgive me because I'm coming in the middle of it. The quartering stuff that's been going on, I got involved a little bit, trolling him, obviously. And I'm pulling myself back now because I see it as Matt Walsh and what's his name, Michael Knowles, they just performed a publicity stunt and they're going to get away with it. Basically adding pressure to an already pressurized system. you know, the internet looks at it and they say, yeah, why isn't this person talking about this? And with quartering, it's justified. But you think about your average person, this is the issue that they're going to lose their job over, you know?
Right.
So I'm willing to lose my job. I don't think I would. I think everybody understands, like, they're watching the same shows we are, or they at least hear about it. So we're obviously about to have a conversation about drag queens and people who have that surgery and hashing it out. And I just see it as Matt Walsh dragging us all into it as a publicity stunt. And if we want to moralize anything, it's whether he was justified to do so or not. Blair White, I'm not really ready to talk about, but I probably will here in a few weeks. And quartering, I think the mob's going to continue to go after quartering as they should, just for the fact that his word doesn't mean anything. So that's what I wanted to do, is I wanted to check in from that group of people that were going after the quartering. And, you know, I'm not telling anybody what to do, but I think first and foremost, you can't label anybody a groomer because they're not ready to lose their job. It's a matter of you're forcing the other person to make some kind of sacrifice. And if you're doing it from like an anonymous account, you don't have a leg to stand on. It's the Jordan Peterson thing. They're forcing us out into the open, and they're saying, how much are you willing to lose? And so our privacy, all that stuff is on the line now. But I trust you. I trust your instincts. I think you are like me. You like to get in the middle of it when the heat is there. And I really like your instincts. I can't wait to see what you do with it. So,
well, let's see. We'll see. Yeah. The thing about the quartering is I saw everybody piling on him, but I also understand where he's coming from. Like, in the sense that people want you to cover something and you don't want to, and people give you a hard time, and you don't need that. You know what I mean? Like, that's not why.
That's a fraction. I mean, that's a fraction of the people, like the most weaponized people on the extreme of his audience. But he's taking that weaponized part of his audience and he's casting a wide net onto like 80% of his audience.
Right.
And now it's the entitlement. It's the fact that, like, Cobra, there's like a live streamer with like 1 million viewers named Cobra, and he's networked with that Umbrella guy and Nick Rekieta. Quartering is he's been sitting back with this issue specifically, bobbing and weaving behind his AdSense, and now he thinks he has a foundation from which to take a shot, and he doesn't. This is where Matt Walsh set him up. Like, Matt Walsh trapped him. And even though I think Matt Walsh performed a publicity stunt, he has the strategic edge over the quartering. So it's also a question of, let's see how the quartering plays it. And right now, the way the quartering is playing it, he'll say something on Twitter, then he'll delete it, then he gets on camera, says something else, then 30 minutes later, he's all over the fucking place. So all he has to do, sorry for cussing, all he has to do is come up with a talking point and stand behind it. He can't do that. He's just going to minimize the issue, push it away. It's going to come back. I think he should have said what I just said. It's easy for you guys to say, but you would lose your job if you were in my position. And his audience has a position over him because they're like, but no, for 3 years, we've been watching your ass. We've been sending you money so you can take the shot. And we're finding out you don't want to take the shot. You'd rather just like use us like pay pigs. I'm not saying that's the bottom line, but people are drawing bottom lines, and I find them to be more justified than he is, just because he flops around like a fish.
Yeah.
That's all.
Yeah. Well, it's different. You know, he's got his, like, he even said in his video, I mean, he just wants to sell coffee, you know, and be happy.
Today he does, but then tomorrow he's going to make some emotional appeal and people are watching him like cry because somebody throws him under the bus. He's like, the thing is like, we all say that we're logical and it shouldn't be emotional, but if your audience gets sucked in and they're like for instance, when he threw Fair and Balance under the bus, everybody was like, I was so heartbroken. It's like, who gives a shit? Like, who cares if you're heartbroken because Jeremy makes like a funny face on camera? Like he's gaming that about your viewership. He's taking advantage. He's exploiting your public understanding and your private understanding. He's pivoting between Twitter, YouTube. He's pivoting between Twitter and locals. He's exploiting and manipulating his audience between the platforms. He's got everything all divided up. And he's even talking about it. Like, he's sitting there looking at his AdSense, and he would care about us more if his AdSense was getting further. But like in February, it got cut by 50%. So he cares about us 50% less. That's, you can't say that. You can't, like, so anyways, I don't want to make it about the quartering. I think the bigger point is we're heading into this riskier territory now. You're going to be online. If you're anonymous, keep that in mind when you're talking to public people and you're asking them to make a sacrifice. You have to ask yourself the Jordan Peterson question. Is that what they're doing? Are they sucking us in? I think they're sucking us in. And Matt Walsh, you know, he's doing it. Everybody knows like he's doing it. Like that's his role as like masculine daddy. And he's just stepping into that role. But now that they weaponize Michael Knowles and they're saying, I hope this is all making sense. Like Michael Knowles is, maybe the live chat just hates me right now. I don't really, but Michael Knowles gets out on a podium and says, we basically have to discard these people. We have to discard their emotions. We have to pretend like we don't know them. We have to have fights with them at work. I mean, that's a big decision for the average. And the people sitting in the audience, when they cut to the audience, do a freeze frame and go by each person. A lot of them look confused. A lot of them look like, why are we going there? And they're just, they're going to continue to do publicity stunts saying, no, we're going there. You know, I don't like this stuff. I don't like where Trump gets on camera and he says, you know, forget the jab. The single biggest issue is we need to start cutting off the heads of drug dealers. I go, you don't have a foundation to say that. You're probably like hopped up on meth. Like, I don't care. But it's like, who the fuck are you to tell anybody we got to use the death penalty for, you know, it's just bait.
That's the stuff that's the stuff where I'm like, okay, hold on. I know. And then people don't even care. People don't care that Trump says crazy stuff like that. Really, you know,
people don't care. And then they get online and they guilt trip you where you have to like make the ultimate sacrifice about anything, you know? The mob is weaponizing. So I think Matt Walsh is smart, but if you don't push back against it at all, like intellectually, it really leads to like a really like dangerous place. I'll give you an example. People don't give it a single thought that they have their Facebook friends who they haven't talked to in like 10 years. Now they're screenshotting their Facebook friends and they're dragging their friend's family out into the light. They start blurring the lines between Facebook and YouTube, and the superficial audiences are never going to call out and say, hey, that's actually a big decision that you're making. Like, we're turning your Facebook wall into a political football. And I mean, if that's what you want to do, but let's make sure that's where you want to go with this. And there is a percentage of people that's where they want to go with this.
Yeah.
That's all I had to say.
Thanks, Jesse. Good to hear from you, man.
And I know I'm not asking anybody to agree with me, but that's just my perspective, especially with all the Eliza Blue quartering stuff, and then now pivoting into this. it's exciting. It's like tightrope. We're heading into this kind of tightrope territory.
Yeah.
Thanks, Nathan.
Yeah.
Have a good night.
All right. Thanks, man. See ya.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thanks. Yeah, things are getting extra divisive. I don't know. Now, one thing about the quartering, one thing about streaming and all of the different stuff is you can get pulled in different directions. You can get pulled in different directions based on what people want to hear and what trends and stuff. And you can get pulled in different directions, even if that's not necessarily what you believe. So, like, I was thinking about making a video about this. There's this story. Anyway, like, I should make more videos. I see people talking in the chat. I appreciate you guys who support the show and stuff. I know I should make more videos. I know I should do that. Hey, you're on the air.
Nathan.
Hey, what's up?
What's up, man?
Not much.
Been listening for a while. Kind of cool to get through. Yeah, I know. I heard you saying before some time ago. I got little kids here, so I'm sorry if there's background
That's
noise.
cool.
That you were just gonna do what you wanted to do and talk about what you wanted to talk about, and if people didn't like it, then that was tough.
Mm-hmm.
I understand you got to make money, right? There's a grift, but I mean, at what point does that just lead to just becoming a tabloid or whatever? I mean, I don't know. I mean, this internet drama stuff, like, to me, it's just getting out of control. Like,
yeah.
You remember in the days, like, people would just consume the media and like that was it. Like, you either liked it or you didn't.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't have these platforms to go online and like talk about the direction of the show that you want. If you didn't like it or not, and
mm-hmm. Right.
Like the whole Cobra Kai thing. And that guy made that video like showing how Johnny wasn't the bad guy in Karate Kid.
Right.
And they made a whole show around it. I mean, some of that stuff's great, but I think like when it becomes like all this drama, like what do you think about like the whole Jim Bob and Owen stuff?
Yeah. I mean, I just think it's, the drama stuff is something where that's a big theme. People make videos about drama, and the Quarter makes a lot of videos about drama, and I don't know how well that goes. So yeah, what was the one you just asked me about? I'm sorry. Was about
the Jim Bob.
Jim Bob and yeah. I mean, well, it's just crazy. They have this huge argument over the Trinity, right? Which is just something where I think to myself, and there's this whole Orthodox Christian thing going on right now. And I just think to myself, it's a silly thing to get upset about, like it's a silly thing to have an argument about. Like, okay, one person believes Jesus is really God and one person believes Jesus wasn't really God. Okay, well, it to me, I'm like, who cares? Who gives a shit?
Are you going to be able to change Are you going to be able to change someone's beliefs in the span of a 3-hour debate?
And then that devolved into like them hating each other, and then now they have this big fight.
How much of that do you think is real? Because I'm kind of leaning towards it's not. I mean, I don't know. I mean, Jim Bob seems sincere, but
Jim Bob genuinely gets pissed off, and so does Owen Benjamin. So yeah, I do think it's legit. And then Owen started going after Jim Bob's wife and stuff. So yeah, it seems legit. It seems like a legit
had a thought
fight.
The other day, like maybe Jim Bob was just like, maybe I'm sorry about the baby.
That's okay.
Maybe Owen was like, hey, I'm losing followers. Let me just like keep the ones that are really loyal to me, and then I'll spin off the ones that are not onto you. I don't know. I start getting conspiratorial, I guess, too much.
Mm-hmm.
But anyways, I want to talk about something else real quick. And then I'll let you go. Is you had mentioned having to get a real job or do something else for money. And what are your thoughts about that? Like, I mean, I guess in a broader sense, like, what do you think this economy is going to do? Like, it seems like it's just teetering on edge like every single day.
Yeah.
But it just keeps going. Like they can just keep propping it up, you know, like, do you think there's going to be an end game where it seems like if they want to institute a digital currency and a digital ID, that they're going to have to do something major to the economy. But it just doesn't seem like they're ever pulling the rug out. It's like this constant, like, it's going to happen, and then it doesn't happen.
Yeah, right.
I mean, what
I
are your
know.
thoughts about that?
It's one thing I've had trouble with. Like I told people I'm not as much of a conspiracy theorist anymore. One of the issues is that I always thought the economy was going to crash. You know,
I was buying silver in 2010 or 11 and thinking, man, this is it. You know?
Yeah, right. Me too. Like I remember telling people, like, get your money out of the bank, buy some silver. You know, shit's going to hit the fan. Like your money's not.
Right, and then silver's still like not even half of it's all high.
I know. I know. Right. So it's like. So I realized that my judgment hasn't been correct. And I would have thought we had already gone into a recession, and the recession was going to keep getting worse and people are going to be losing their jobs and all this stuff. And I thought that inflation was probably over because the interest rate hikes and stuff and them not printing any more money. But we still have inflation and we still have high people employed, I guess, even though they have shitty jobs. So
yeah, do you think there's like a depopulation agenda?
Is there is there an agenda?
And is that tied, like, is that how they're going to just like lower the demand of the economy? I guess tie it in, you know?
Well, I think advanced civilizations are depopulating naturally, but I think that I don't know if it's all by design or if it's just because people, it's because of financial situations, and it's a lot harder to have a family when you can't support a family on one income anymore, which is, you know, and you can argue
they just dropped all those people off of their food stamp benefits. I heard they had seniors that were going from over 200. Yeah, they had the pandemic food stamp assistance. And then it just ended like the 1st of March. So they have,
really?
I mean, I saw stories. Maybe that's what we could do something about. There was a story where they were having mile-long lineups to get for the food banks in certain places.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
and they said that, they said that some seniors were their monthly food stamp allowance was going from like $200 to like $20 a month or something like that.
Right. Yeah. And then people are having to start paying back their college loans and stuff. And
I guess that's the other question. I mean, I'm invested in that, you know, like here's my thing. Like, they're never going to be able to pay back all these debts. And even if they did, that would wreck the economy anyway, right? This is a debt-based economy.
Right.
So what if they just make this debt so worthless? I'm going to try to be succinct. What if they just say, we're going to institute a new a digi-dollar, whatever you want to call it. And we're going to wipe all your debts clean, but you're not going to own anything. You can stay in your house, you can keep your car, but you're not going to own it.
Mm-hmm.
And then if you have like $50,000 worth of student loan debt or $25,000, that's going to lower your social credit score by this amount. And then you can do all these little things to build it back up. But don't worry, we're not going to have to pay your debts anymore. And here's your digi-dollars that are going to expire in a month or 6 months or a year, however they want to do it. And then here's your monthly allotment of digi-dollars to pay for your basic expenses. I mean, it seems like if they were going to do a plan like that, which is kind of seems like what they're going towards, the less people that were involved, like less older people, less productive people, would be better for them, you know?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, and if all of if people's jobs and stuff get replaced by robots, then you don't need as many people also, right?
Yeah, but I mean, I don't know if you were talking about this or somebody else. Like, we thought that the AI was going to, you know, they were going to build these robots and replace all these menial jobs, but it's like, no, it's going to replace the white collar jobs.
I know. Well, that's the crazy part. Yeah.
I mean, you're still going to need linemen. You're still going to need, you know, plumbers. You're still going to need a guy that goes down in the ditch. Like, there's stuff that a robot just can't do. Right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So like, I'm trying to figure out the trades that are going to be good for my, like you were saying, like, are you going to tell your kid to be an artist? Like,
Right.
you
Right.
can type a thing into the AI and it generates this beautiful art in 15, 20 seconds or whatever.
Right.
It is,
Right. Right. Exactly. Yeah. Right. Being an art. Yeah. Or like
And then
learning,
there's still going to be a demand for like, go ahead. I'm sorry.
yeah, like learning technical skills, like learning how to be a portrait artist, for example, is something that the AI.
Right.
Yeah.
I remember like 5 or 10 years ago, and they're pushing everyone to get into coding, become a coder. You can make all this money.
Right.
Take this 2-week course, be a coder.
Right.
And like, how many of these young people are doing coding now?
I know.
And it's like it's going to be completely out. It's not even going to be a profession, because weren't you saying that the guy was type the code and it translated to an older code like instantaneously?
Yeah. You can tell it. Yeah. People, coders,
So, like,
they have special AI that helps with coding specifically.
And so, like, what are all these young people that are just coding now? What are they going to do?
I know, right?
And these young, like, they don't have a lot of life skills. I'm sorry to say.
I know.
That may be like a controversial thing to say, but like, I mean, they don't know how to do anything like physical. And that's I don't know if you're talking about, like, I think we grew up probably about the same age, but we grew up in this analog world, right? You pushed a button and it went in, and now these kids, everything's digital. Like, they don't know how to operate like a machine, like that. You have to like turn the levers and change the gears and stuff like that. It's like it's like weird to them,
Kids aren't learning how to drive. That's something I read. Is like 16-year-olds aren't getting their driver's license anymore because they're just like, what's the point?
Right. And they can't afford the insurance either.
Right. Which isn't even, like, when I think about it, the whole thing about you'll own nothing and be happy. Well, to some extent, it actually makes sense. Like not owning a car in Manhattan or San Francisco, where you have to pay like $1,200 a month for a parking space. It makes sense, right? Yeah, especially with Uber and stuff now. So there are some, and then when self-driving cars come around and stuff, I mean, there is some there. It does make some of it makes sense. It might be cheaper than the way we live now, but
right. Well, I just saw this thing where they're now dropping. Insurance companies are dropping. They're not going to insure the newer Hyundais and the Kias because they don't have the lock chip on them.
Yeah, I know.
Deal.
I know.
So maybe that's kind of part of that whole thing too. And like, it's lower income people that are buying those types of cars anyways. And then with the cars just getting progressively, it's like they're getting cheaper, like the way they're made, but they're getting progressively more futuristic. And then you can't fix it yourself. Like you have to have like specialty tools and all this stuff. I don't know. It's interesting. I guess I would just kind of ask, like, my final thought was like, do you think that they're going to get 2 or 3 more years out of this economy? I heard someone say, like, they'll start really ramping up the economic stuff the next election cycle.
Well, they say the housing market, like, I always thought the housing market has to come down. They say that's starting to turn a little bit. And then I've
slowly seen that.
Yeah, the job market has to turn though. And then we'll see. Like, if the job market turns, and then things get, I think recessions happen. You can't avoid them. So there will be a recession. So it's just a question of when and how bad. And my thoughts are, because of all the debt we have, my thoughts are that it could be really, 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 really bad. But it hasn't materialized yet.
The worse it gets. I'm sorry for interrupting you. The worse it gets is easier for them to institute the reset. You would think, right? And then, but they have to play that balancing act. Like, how bad can we make it? And then the people will accept this new system, or it like completely devolves into chaos. I mean, I really believe they're walking this razor's edge at this point, because and then with all the social stuff that's going on in this country right now, like, I mean, what's going to happen? If there's another incident, a well-publicized incident, I mean, all that crap from 3 years ago, it's going to be 10 times worse now. The way people are, people are so reactionary.
Yeah.
It's just crazy.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
It is crazy.
Like, so yeah, okay. Well, good. I'm glad I got through to you. I've been
Thanks,
listening
man.
for a long time. Yeah, I appreciate it. Just keep doing the show, man. Keep doing it how you want to do it.
Okay.
Like, that's my advice, and my unsolicited advice.
Thanks.
Like,
I appreciate it.
it feels a lot more natural that way, and
Yeah.
I think that's why the people that are here are tuning in, because it's you and it's natural and it's what you want to talk about.
Yeah.
So,
Yep. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
all right, bud. Take care.
All right.
Have a good night.
All right. Thanks. See ya. Yeah. Yeah. I was thinking, I don't know. I don't know what to do. Like I could, some people are saying make more videos. I do miss some days. I don't know if that screws me up a little bit. I have mental health issues. I have to just be honest. So I'm not always feeling 100%. So that's why I have issues doing the show every day. But I got to figure out how to, I don't know. I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm probably going to end up driving for DoorDash, and then I'll see if I can do the show too. But I was hoping I could make the show work out. Let me see if I heard somebody got me a coffee. I appreciate people who tune in and support the show. And sorry the podcast doesn't go out every time. I'll probably start doing I'll try to get the podcast out for this one. Tyler L. Hayden says, please don't stop doing the show. I listen, watch every day, not live. My son listens on the way to school. You're amazing what you do, and obviously being suppressed. Don't give up, give in. Your work matters is making a bigger impact than the fake analytics let you think. Thank you, Nathan. Well, I appreciate that, Tyler. Yeah. Yeah, it's discouraging. It's discouraging what the algorithm does to me. Like I feel like it's a good show, but it's not reflected in the results I get. So I get discouraged easily. That's all I do. So I appreciate that. Yeah. I'll try to make some videos. Maybe I'll try to make some videos tomorrow. But they do suppress the crap out of the show. Travis MC says, create videos about conspiracy theories and show both sides. Yeah, I could do that. Thanks, LPS. Appreciate you guys. Yeah, I have a few videos. I could make. But yeah, they discourage you. Like I'll make a video that I think is going to be great, but then it's like doesn't get any traction and stuff. So I'm like, what's going on? Are they good videos? But I heard Crowder today, and he said after he got demonetized, it totally fucked him over. And they do demonetize all my content immediately. I'm not surprised on a show called Eradicate Transgenderism, though. All right. Thanks, guys. I will. Thanks, Top Fee Coco. It says, be a man, quit crying. I appreciate that. Thanks, Top Fee Coco. I know. You're right. Thank you for that. All right. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. Thanks for the super chats. Oh, thanks over on Rockfin. Vogan Filter, who said everyone should go to truthclothing.io and get some really comfy shirts before they are gone, possibly forever. I'm wearing my blue question everything shirt today. Too many people base their arguments on fallacious presuppositions. Those are big words. Thanks for that. Yeah, we do still have t-shirts at truthclothing.io. You can check those out. That's our t-shirt website. And those t-shirts, those are, if you get one, it will be the last one because that t-shirt business won't be open for much longer. So if you get something from truthclothing.io, there are limited edition shirts that are screen printed and last forever and are super comfortable. Check it out, truthclothing.io. And we have some for sale too. But yeah, if you get those are collector's items because I don't think we'll be restocking anything except for question everything stuff. So check that out. We have really cool t-shirts. They're really, really, really nice. Truthclothing.io. All right. Thanks, everybody. Thanks for the support. I appreciate it. Thanks for the calls. And I'll try to be back. I'll try to be back tomorrow. Okay. Because I still have some material. So, all right. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you at the next one. For now, that's what it is.